So we're back on the track. You see the officials there relining the teams. Again, a little bit of an unusual situation. The teams were headed out around the corner. The leaders were almost to the other side of the curve, and we had an athlete suddenly go down. Don't know if he hooked a spike out or what, but the medical staff went to him. Didn't spend any time to speak of it at all with him. One of the officials was able to get to him and get him up. They walked him back into the starting area. And so they will rock and roll. We'll reset the lane assignments. They will remain the same in wearing hip number 1. In lane 1 briefly will be, whoa.
Sorry, that was actually 365 Track Club. Sorry about
365 Track Club wearing hip 1. Hip 2 will be South Orange County Wildcats A, hip 2. Hip 3 will be Glen Arden A. Hip 4 will be Quiet Fire A. Hip 5 will be CI Athletic Stars.
I think that's actually maybe Carl Lewis.
It is Carl Lewis Athletic Stars. You are correct. We had that last summer. Thank you for remembering that. Hip 6 is Speedolite Elite Youth. Hip 7 is the Texas Storm Track Club. Hip 8 is Team Mocan, one of my favorite names this summer. In Hip 9 is Track Houston B. In 10 is Track Houston A. In 11 is Imani Speed City Compton A. I was with those young people on the plane the other day. In Hip 12 is Speed City A, and the Fayetteville Flyers A are in Hip 13. So a full field in this first of 2 sections here in the youth boys, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, youth boys second section. And Carl Lewis Athletics, they were in front, but they've dropped back. We'll see if we can get that hip number for you. And that looks like hip number 8, which will be Team Mocan, your favorite team name, one of your favorite team names. So Team Mocan on the outside, on the inside, on their outside, that is hip number 10. That is Track Houston's A squad. And in third, that looks like hip 12. That is Speed City. So Mocan, your leader right now.
Like Speed City may have gone into second.
They're trying to pull away, put a little distance between themselves and the rest of the field. And now Speed City tries to go on the outside shoulder of Mocan. They're about shoulder to shoulder as they get ready to come off the turn into the front stretch. Mocan with a slight lead.
And it looks like they are going to hold that lead as he lengthens his stride. So it's going to be Mocan handing off on the inside. Then it'll be Speed City. And coming up on the outside, I believe it was the Texas Storm. I believe they're now in third place, though I could be mistaken.
We'll check for you again. As you mentioned, Mocan out in front.
So Speed City
in second.
chase.
And then that looks like hip number 7, which is Texas Storm. You were right, in third. As soon as I say that, another team's moving up on their outside. And
is that one of the Track Houston?
That's actually hip number 10, and that is Track Houston. So Track Houston now back in the mix.
And Texas Storm, a team also from the Houston area, so they'll battle back and forth for neighborhood supremacy. But it is Mocan out in front by about 15 meters. Speed City, who I thought might catch them, but now beginning to lose some steam in second, followed by Team Houston. It was the Texas Storm. However, now we have a team between Team Houston and the Texas Storm. So it's Mocan headed around the curve into the backstretch out in front and opening the lead some over Speed City. Speed City beginning to drop back to the pack, or the pack moving forward to them, however you'd like to phrase it.
And we'll look, that is still Mocan, Speed City, and now that is hip number 1, and we'll see who that team.
Oh, that's 365 Track Club.
365 now moving up.
365 now in second. However, we've got a gaggle of people there. 365 is now passed by Speed City, who's come back to life. Texas Storm is going to give designs on passing 365 Track. So that move by 365 really propelled the field forward. Speed City now giving chase, but Texas Storm passes Speed City. Looks like 365 is going to as well on the outside.
Track Houston also trying to go with them. They're drafting off of 365, so now going all the way on the outside.
Absolutely. They lit a fuse under a pack of 4 teams there, all to some degree in pursuit of Mocan, although they've been out in front, Al, since the outset, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to track them down. Still have probably 600 meters to go, but they certainly have looked strong thus far in this first section of the youth boys 4x800 meter.
This is actually section 2.
Section 2, pardon me. Got me confused by slotting that multi in there in the middle.
Yes. And now, as you said, Mocan still out in front. They're coming off the turn, entering the front stretch.
So with about 500 meters to go, Mocan is looking strong at this point. Track Houston is now in second. I believe that's Texas Storm. And then Team 365 and Speed City right there behind him. So it's Mocan, Track Houston. Now 365 edging slightly past the Texas Storm. Looks like the runner from Speed City would like to do the same thing also on the outside. So, in fact, it is Mocan, Team Houston, Track 365, Speed City, Texas Storm. And we've got the athlete in black there with his eyes on Texas Storm. So about 200 or so meters to go until the anchor handoff. Team Mocan remains out in front where they've been since the opening gun.
And Track Houston in second, with Mocan coming down, getting ready to hand off, it looks like, to the anchor leg. That'll be right on that 8-ish pace. Track Houston, Speed City now going into third. We have a team moving up that looks like that might be, I want to say it was one of the South Orange teams, but I'll have to look. That looks like their uniforms, but we'll check.
Like it may be South Orange County.
Right, but it is still Mocan, Mocan, Track Houston, and then Speed City. That's your 1, 2, 3.
And it looks like if that's Orange County that they have moved now into fourth place and are trying to track down Speed City in third. The Texas Storm is now in fifth.
I think actually, Bart, it looks like hip number, we got a 13, and that's actually the Fayetteville Flyers. So that looks like hip number 13. The Fayetteville Flyers now in fourth, and they're going to try to go on around the outside of Speed City and Track Houston. Speed City now goes to second. Fayetteville Flyers in third. Now Fayetteville Flyers moves to second on the outside shoulder of Speed City with Track Houston. But it is Mocan. They have one more lap to go, and they are closing the gap. They are running after each other. Mocan out there by themselves as we go to Bell Lap. This should be a great finish.
And Team Mocan's anchor runner is going to have to feel those runners behind him. He is falling again, whether he's falling back to the pack or the pack is catching up to him. Phrase it however you'd like, but the anchor runner from the Fayetteville Flyers is closing the gap quickly now right behind him with Speed City on his heels. Be interesting to see whether or not the Speed City runner just lays back there until the last 150 yards and tries to take the whole event. But Team Mocan now surrenders the lead that they've had since the opening leg. It's the Fayetteville Flyers, and right on their right shoulder, the team from Speed City. We could have a sprint down the final straightaway, Al. Looks like Speed City is beginning to kick.
There it is, Speed City on the outside. And that is Speed City. And then on the inside, the Fayetteville Flyers, they were like, no can do today. Fayetteville Flyers, Speed City. Now Track Houston goes all the way to third. Mocan actually drops to fourth after leading for most of the race.
And so it is the team from, it is the Fayetteville Flyers. They ran a great tactical race Looked like they might be caught by Speed City, but right here as they came off the turn, headed into the home stretch, the Fayetteville Flyer anchor runner felt the challenge, and the Speed City runner was out of gas, and that's always a dicey thing to try to decide, Al. When is it that you kick, and you've got to know yourself well enough to know how much kick do you have. If you've got 150 yards worth of kick, you don't want to kick any quicker than 150 yards.
That is
true. And that looked about like what happened to the Speed City anchor runner. He put it in high gear for about 150 yards. The only problem, he started at 300 yards, and the last 150 he had no way to respond when Fayetteville responded to that kick, and so they take the take. Fayetteville comes in at 8:54.85, pardon me, and phew, they disappeared.
And it looks like we'll see. Make sure they don't slide. We're waiting a little bit. We'll see what they're going to bring out on the track next. Our next scheduled event in the order for the 4x8s would be the intermediate girls 4x8. Hadn't lined anybody else up yet. We'll take a quick break. Don't go too far. As you know, they'll put them on the track and fire